Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rethink, Reconfigure, Restart. Today, I thought we'll talk about a sector which, in many ways, is a barometer for various parts of our economy. So, for example, tractor sales. They give an indicator on the rural economy. Commercial vehicles. They talk about how is the manufacturing sector doing. When we talk about passenger vehicles, it's about a consumer sentiment. I'm sure you'd have guessed now which sector I'm talking about. It is the automotive sector. Today, I have Kavan Mukhtyar, our head of automotive at PwC India, to talk about these aspects. Kavan, to kick off things, what is your view on how this pandemic is transforming the auto sector?
Yes, auto industry is really going through some interesting times. We are seeing green shoots of recovery already. But during the pandemic, it was really tough. And the auto industry really looked at new ways of operating, including leveraging digital. So there has been a massive effort towards trying to sell vehicles digitally. And it had to be a culture change. This industry in many ways is a legacy industry, and getting dealership salespeople to reach out to the customers and walk them through the sales process online was a key challenge, and the auto industry has adapted really well. So now we are seeing, a lot of the sales are actually happening online, and maybe not all the way, but at least 8 out of the 10 steps in the process are happening online. So many of the companies have used digital technologies, IoT, to make sure that they have the right levels of social distancing built in, and to keep their employees as safe as possible. So in many ways, the biggest impact of the pandemic has been that the auto industry's battleground has changed, and digital is really the new battleground. With the pandemic hitting the urban areas a lot more than rural, there has been a clear trend towards rural demand picking up, and that has made auto OEMs think how they are going to play in the rural market. How can they have programs directed towards the rural channel? The first quarter of the year, the demand was really slow, but in the second quarter, the demand has really started picking up. So these companies are learning very quickly to be nimble and to respond to market conditions really fast. And at the same time, clearly, the role of the dealer also has evolved. Initially, dealers would always depend on walk-in customers, but you are increasingly seeing that dealers are upskilling themselves and really preparing for the digital change. Deepankar, as you saw clearly, digital transformation is here to stay with the auto industry. And you, as our advisory leader for PwC, have really been on the forefront of shaping the digital upskilling agenda for the firm. So, in your experience, what do you think will be the challenges, and how should the auto industry and the component suppliers prepare themselves to be ready for the digital upskilling agenda?
Digital upskilling is at the heart for every organization today. What it means for each organization depends upon the sector the organization is in, depends upon the focus of that organization, so on and so forth. So, for example, today we know that more and more data is going to be generated, right? Whether it is front office data, if dealer salesmen are going to be dealing with their customers in an online fashion, every interaction is creating data. Now, that earlier, if you look at in the physical world, that's where it stopped. But today, that interaction is captured somewhere. So, what kind of new skills or upskilling we need to do in terms of analytics, in terms of artificial intelligence, in terms of mining of data, so that we can have a better interaction tomorrow, is a great example of how upskilling will happen in this sector, for that matter, any sector. Let's understand what is going to be the future of the workplace going to be for me. What is the future of the workforce going to be? What is the organization structure going to be? Once we get a good handle on that, then we can say, okay, what kind of skills are required? And in this, the top management or the leadership has a very crucial role to play, because I think so it's important to communicate how this will help individuals become better people, employees are more skilled and relevant to the future, but also how can this help in collaboration in the future? One of the key conversations which is there today is around smart mobility. Obviously, it has implications for the auto sector, right? What are your views on the whole space of smart mobility?
The auto industry is going to get disrupted big time over the next 5 to 10 years. And the whole focus is changing from manufacturing vehicles to really be a solution provider from a mobility standpoint, whether it is people mobility or goods mobility. So if you look at the long range vision statement for most automotive OEMs, it's about being a mobility solution provider to the world. Huge amount of shift towards customer centricity. Add to that new complexities that have come in. Electrification is really going to pick up speed in the auto industry. Autonomous vehicles, that really, maybe in a market like India, we are going to see likely level 1 or level 2 autonomy at best, but definitely it's come in. Shared mobility, that's another piece which we saw very good uptake, but during the pandemic, of course, it slowed down a bit. Connected vehicles is another huge opportunity, and it's really a convergence space that connects communication industry and IT in many ways to the automotive world. And you'll be surprised the amount of electronics and data that a vehicle is generating today. And auto OEMs are really trying to figure out how can they monetize this data? What kind of business models can we build around it so that this data can be monetized? And I see a lot of new alliances, shaping up in the industry.
Kavan, going on to something which is very dear to our Prime Minister and India's Atmanirbhar Bharat. And in that context, it is about India as a key hub in the manufacturing space, auto space, right? How do you see India evolving itself in the global scheme of things in the auto sector?
Automotive industry in India really is reaching scale. If you look at exports happening from India as of last year, we did almost $27 billion of exports. So we have the companies and the capabilities and the skills to really scale this up further. But a few more elements really need to be focused on. For example, unwavering focus on maintaining world class quality. And this is something which we have to do consistently. For India, really the cost of doing business is much higher than many other competing countries. For example, the logistics cost, the cost of transactions, and overall infrastructure issues are also things that are holding us back in some ways. So the country definitely needs to invest in upping the infrastructure, ensuring that the connectivity with around the world improves. And this is something which will really make us competitive in the global market.
Thank you very much, Kavan, for that discussion and for the inputs which you had. Few things which I really understood well was around digital transformation, around how are organizations in the sector rethinking, reconfiguring, and restarting themselves, because surely there is a paradigm shift which is hitting us. Organizations which are able to do this well will really be successful in the future. And the good part is that we are working with many such organizations on this path. Friends, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. Till the next time with another big business issue, stay safe, stay healthy.